Well, hi there folks, it's Matt Hayson here looking at everything going down in and around the Sydney property market. Well, this week our focus is on making a case for why we believe now is the ideal time to buy. But before we do that, let's look at a market overview because it was a pretty rough week for auctions around Sydney. Now, I've always argued that the preliminary clearance rate that's issued on a Saturday afternoon is a really weak metric to measure the overall performance of the market. Now, the reason being is when conditions are weak, like they are now, more agents don't report their sold data, and as a result, the distortion between the preliminary clearance rate on a Saturday and the final clearance rate becomes wider and wider. Now, let's take last week for an example. On Saturday, CoreLogic reported a preliminary clearance rate in Sydney of 70.5%, being the highest outcome in the past 5 weeks. Yet on Tuesday, SQM Research reported the final clearance rate, and that came through at just 43.6%, being the weakest result since September 2022, when the cash rate was rocketing higher each and every month. Now, this is a massive swing of almost 40% from the very same data and paints two entirely different pictures of the overall performance of Sydney property. Also, this week, the cash rate conversation is bubbling along. Our jobs market is resilient, delivering a far better than expected outcome. Now, as a result, traders had been factoring in a 50-50 chance of a rate cut in December. That's now being pushed out to a 1 in 3 chance. As we all know, our RBA Governor Michelle Bullock is holding firm on rate cuts this year, but it's now just Norway and Australia of the advanced economies that are holding rates steady. So we know rate relief is not far away. Perhaps it's going to unfold in February or April. So here's where things get interesting though. Sydney prices are up marginally, growing by 0.5% over the past quarter, according to CoreLogic, and new listing levels are 8.8% higher than the 5-year average. So here are our 4 core reasons why we believe now is the ideal time to purchase. Number 1, well, the auction clearance rate is weak. We all know it. That means the depth of the buy pool is somewhat compromised. It means sellers are more willing to engage in negotiations, and it means there's fewer people competing. So overall, the general conditions are far more favourable for you as a purchaser. Also, rates are on the precipice of going down. You'd be purchasing at the peak of the cash rate cycle, and you'd ride that downward trend throughout the course of next year. And when rates are cut in 2025, sentiment jumps quickly and then increases buyer confidence and buyer demand, something you likely want to avoid. And then stock levels are high. You'd have this choice, this variety at great levels currently. And then finally, Sydney is so resilient. This high rate environment, the high cost of living sitting at peak levels, yet prices are continuing to modestly grow. So everything is set now. You have around 7 weeks of high activity before us. Plenty of savvy buyers are out there making moves right now. We're seeing it play out around the ground. So with that said, we have some spectacular properties open for inspection this weekend, and our entire team looks forward to seeing out and about. Thanks for watching, and I'm going to catch you all next week.